Hi, I'm Streaky and this is
Shay.
And today we're discussing online mastering, automated mastering, LANDR, Emastering, Cloundbounce, blah blah blah. There's a few other services out there. That's what we're talking about today. So obviously I'm a mastering engineer, I'm an analog mastering engineer, and I spent 25 years being a mastering engineer. Shay is a
Producer, mixer, educator.
In the box, plugins, that kind of world, automation, making things easy things. So that's basically a roundup of what we are. We were discussing off camera, so I decided to turn the camera on, about LANDR, and he was asking me my thoughts and he seemed quite animated, so I thought let's see what you guys think and put in the comments. So I'm open up for discussion, because obviously as a mastering guy and as somebody who's spent a long time in mastering, my thoughts on the situation are this. I've actually done another video which I will put up there. I actually think it makes more people aware of mastering. I think it makes people know what mastering is that didn't before. It was very much, when I first started, a process of just transferring something to CD. It wasn't much of a creative process. We're going back to the 90s here, early 90s. The only people that really knew about mastering were either producers that were working in proper studios or record company people. It was very much pro audio. Not as many people were writing music, given that, because you didn't have a lot of stuff in your, you had nothing at home you had to go to a studio. Yeah. So really it was only studio people that knew about mastering. For me, it's the same as when everyone wore a suit years ago and Marks and Spencer's bought out off-the-shelf suits. Now, to somebody who knows what they're looking at and somebody who knows tailoring or cares about clothes and blah, blah, they'll go and have a bespoke suit made because they appreciate that somebody knows about fabric, it's about them, it's about bespoking it for them, it's about how it looks on them, it's how it feels, it's spending a little bit more money to get it exactly right and to be happy with it and proud and work on it and go back and say, can I have a tuck and all that. Same thing for me with mastering. I'm a bespoke mastering engineer. Someone works with me on their tracks, I feed back to them, we go back and forth and we get the sound they're looking for, because that's what I do. And I use analog equipment because I like the sound of it. I don't like plugins much because that's my kind of scissors. That's my thing. That's my cloth. That's how I get things to sound the way I can. And that's why people come to me, because of the way I make that sound. So for me, I think is fine. So if somebody doesn't want any of that I've just explained, and they just want, right, quick, I need a quick master, then I can slam it through LANDR or one of the others, and for £3 or whatever it is, I can get a result. Yes, you can do that, but you could also use Ozone or any of these other softwares out there to kind of slap it through that on some standard presets and hope for the best and get it louder and get it sounding okay. Does it need more top? I don't know. I don't think that's why you're watching this channel, because I think you want to know a little bit more detail on what's going on. But that's my take on it. I think it's horses for courses. I don't have a problem with it. I don't see it as competition, so I'm not bothered. You know, I've got stuff going on, so crack on.
I have a problem with it. I don't like it. I can't understand why you would want to not have a personal edge on it or input into what your track is going to sound like. If you like the track that you've made, or you love the song that you're making, and you've put your effort and creativeness into it, why would you trust a computer to just go, that's it, that's it, it's done? Like, the only way I can.
Well, I mean, they are. I'm not saying I'm not here to promote them, but I guess they're analysing it and they're working out. Their algorithms are working it out and saying it's similar to this 1,000.
But what's to say that's correct?
There's not. That's exactly the whole point. But it's good. So all you're doing, right? There's two stages of mastering. When I go to master something, you get something in the ballpark, which takes one playthrough. Yeah. So I'll get the levels up right to where they need to go. I'll suddenly think, okay, bass, top, how's the balance, blah, blah. I'm in the ballpark. The next half an hour is the tweaking of the ballpark. So it'll get to the point thing. I think LANDR and all those things get you in the ballpark. So yeah, they get you to the level you need to be. They get you a rough idea on how much top or bottom you've got going on. But it's those that extra half an hour of fannying and trying stuff and nibbling in and touching stuff and trying different dynamics and all that, that's what you don't get, I don't think.
I think the only way I can see it being a good thing to use, or something that, not the only way to be a good thing to use, but like a good application for it, is to, if you are mastering music, to put one through LANDR and see what it sounds like, to see what a computer says it sounds like, or what LANDR says it sounds like. And then you listen to that and think, well, maybe I like that, so I'm going to tweak from that, or get mine close to that and then tweak a little bit further. But
so you use it as a tool to
use it as like a reference tool. So I would never put a LANDR master out. I just wouldn't feel that it's all of the effort that I put into making that song to then just trust something that has no brain, ears, past experience, past expertise. I don't know what it's going through. I have no idea about it. And it's not through fear of not knowing it. It's just through, it's not an organic thing. Like, I would prefer to trust someone that I know has mastered records before, has heard a tune like this before, has got gear that they know how to use, that knows, do I need that or do I not need that? Whereas LANDR's like, it will probably I don't know exactly how it works, but I assume it reads the frequencies of it, it reads the loudness, and then just does
the dynamic.
So it just like bring things up in terms of frequency, which is close to a point where it decides. Like, you've got soft, hard, extreme. There must be a curve for extreme and a curve for medium, for instance, and it just brings it up to that.
Yeah, there must be levels that it's going to.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've done lessons before where I master a track in the lesson and then we put the same track through LANDR, and every single time it comes...
LANDR's better.
No, every single time LANDR is, like you say, that ballpark. It sounds like what took me 30 seconds to just put through. It's like, if you're going to use LANDR, I don't understand why you don't just get a plugin like Ozone and use a preset. For something. At least you've still got a choice of presets.
Well, you can manipulate that a bit more yourself.
Yeah, it gets you to the ballpark to start with, and it's a great way of learning. You don't learn anything by putting something through LANDR. You don't understand your music better by putting it through LANDR.
No.
If you're going to use LANDR, it's kind of the thing that you're trapped in. You're going to have to use that all the time afterwards, because you're only going to end up tweaking your music to sound as good as LANDR's going to spit you out, because you're reliant on the sound of LANDR, or any of the other ones.
Yeah.
I mean, online mastering services where it's someone behind a computer doing it, even if it's just someone with a MacBook and stock plugins from Logic, I would trust more than a LANDR.
But I mean, for me, I'm not getting the depth, I'm not getting the warmth, I'm not getting the things that I like from analog gear, so I'm not going to get that straight away. I'm not going to have much say in how it's going to sound, so I can't say, okay, I've been listening to these tracks and I thought that I like the way the top on this one sounds and I really like the bottom on that, so is there a way how we can do that, or and then I'll go and say to someone to tweak the mix and do that. So you don't get that, but yeah, you kind of get it somewhere, so that if you just need to slam it out, you need to play it to someone and you haven't got a clue about Ozone or those kind of software. It's kind of a 3-stage thing. It's like, you can either do it yourself, or you can either get LANDR to do it, or you can pay money and get a mastering engineer at whatever stage of mastering engineer you want to use.
But it's the human side of it. It's someone's opinion and it's someone's input into your music. It's a decision.
It's not why. Well, for me, it's not why I got into doing music or want to do music, or why I want to speak to you and why I want to tell people what I do and help them and help them develop and things, because that's not. I didn't come into it just to be a computer programmer and put things into computer programs, really. I can see the benefits of it. It's quick and easy, and it spits out a result, and it's a off-the-shelf suit.
Exactly,
you can look like terrible in an off-the-shelf, and sometimes you can look great, but it depends who's wearing the suit and how well that fits. You could, if you're a big fat guy, the off-the-shelf suit's not going to look as good as a bespoke suit. So if your mix is a little bit poor, it's not going to look that good on LANDR. But if your mix is amazing and all LANDR's doing is turning it up, happy days.
But it's like LANDR won't go back to you and go, maybe that bottom end, like for the mix purposes, like say if someone sent you something and the mix wasn't just right, you wouldn't master it just as is. You'd say to them, maybe. But no, in most situations you would say, maybe have a look at this before I go through with it. Because I've done one. You'd send them a version of what you've got, but maybe if the mix was a little bit slightly different in terms of its bass response.
Well, and also sometimes you'll send stuff back, and then people will say, okay, if I tweak my mix, then I'll send it back.
And there's a relationship there.
And you're like, okay, cool. And then they understand next time what to do and then where to go. Similar thing, you probably do that with LANDR too, but you're not going to have as much feedback. Basically.
Yeah, but I mean, LANDR, when I've done some of the tracks where I get from students and put them through LANDR and then do a personal one, LANDR sometimes comes back and says, this is too hot or something like that, which is like, okay, great, but there's no like communication where you can say, maybe if you try this instead with the mix and you work together with the person,
which is what you're paying. Which is what you're paying for, basically.
In mastering, it's the peace of mind. There's no peace of mind with LANDR.
No, there's no. Was that all right? Is that okay?
Is that so? Is this what it's supposed to? Is this what it's supposed to sound like? Okay, fine. Rather than this is what I want it to sound like. I want my mix sounds like this. I want my master to sound like this. If I communicate with the person, they get it to what I want it to sound like. Not, oh, I need it mastered. But is that what it's supposed to sound like? Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, well, that's not your work anymore.
It doesn't give you the money shot.
No. See, I'm big on creative. I like things being. I like being creative with things and like having an input into something and getting creative with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas it's just such a sterile, like, oh, I'll finish my track, I'll just LANDR it. Like, well, no. Just take 15 minutes and learn how to use a limiter and then do it yourself and then use it as a reference maybe to learn, but no.
Yeah. Okay, so there we go. That's our views on LANDR. Tell us yours underneath. Shay's obviously a massive fan.
I'm going to get ripped for this. I know, I don't mind.
I'm on the fence really because I just don't see it as an issue.
See, that's strange because I would have thought you'd have been like, no LANDR, no way, because you're a mastering engineer. But
I'm not scared.
I suppose, it's not really a competition, really, is it?
I'm not scared. I think it's fine. If you want to do that to your music, crack on. Alright, thanks for watching. If you would like me to master your music rather than LANDR, you've made it this far, there is a code below for you to do that. So thanks for watching. Till next time, bye.